We're in a brand new series called Scapegoats, and I have so many questions after hearing Steve's message today. First of all, actually, this is maybe not necessarily on target, on the subject, but you mentioned that the crowd turned on you like some sort of borderline like militia. Have you ever taught a sermon where that became an issue, where people started lining up to...
Not like in the moment, but definitely after. Like, my email box became like a source of militant feedback.
You don't have a comment section under your picture at church?
No.
That may be an interesting idea.
I think that's a terrible idea. You have some good ideas.
I have some good ideas. This is a terrible idea. Hey, you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not quoting you here, but you said that the Bible was written for scapegoats, by scapegoats, which is, I'm trying to, capture that, because I think it means that I need to read the stories of Jesus today differently. Do you want to touch
and
that
I think one
more?
of the things that we have to consider, now obviously, we've talked about like turning the gem before here, where there's the old rabbinic saying of how to view Scripture through different lenses, and I think that's still valid and important, but it's also very, very important to recognize the context of who is writing and who their audience was. Like, I don't think the author of John was sitting down thinking of Steve and Christian in 2025 going, this will be helpful for them. So we have to interpret it based on the context, and the context for specifically, I think it's true of all biblical authors, but for sure the gospel writers, they are living in under Roman occupation. They're blamed for everything that's going on. They are marginalized. They are oppressed, which has been the story. It's the story throughout Scripture. And so they're not writing as if they're the ones in authority. So if we are ones in power and authority, or we're the dominant class in society or whatever, it's not easy to just read that without thinking of our own context first. It's usually, what does this mean to me, instead of what does this mean to them, and how do I apply that to me in my context?
Yeah, as you were talking about that, I felt like, I don't know if I've ever thought of myself any other than kind of an underdog. I'm I'm the Christian in this group. I'm the,
because your name's
always
Christian.
And because my name is Christian, it's like double. It's like double. I'm like a double scapegoat. But to not feel like, hey, I'm being not persecuted, but I'm not equal. You know what I mean? I'm here, and to think like, oh my gosh, that is actually not the case at all. I have all the advantage in my circles and in my I
think that's the appropriate way to view it. Is we always want to connect ourselves with the hero, or the one that came out on top. So in this story that from John 8, we'll connect ourselves with Jesus because he protected her. But we don't realize how often we're the crowd, or how often we're the woman in that story, in that context, right? And so I think we just have to be honest with the reality of who we are and where we are in the stories, and not just paint ourselves in the best light all the time.
Which that's very it's very true, and I think that one of the things that I really want to adopt for myself is that and accept and try to think about is that this scapegoating gives us this false peace that it's satisfying in the moment, but then it immediately takes us away from being being Christ-like.
It just perpetuates bad behavior and systems that continue to marginalize people too. So,
have you figured out a way to keep reminding yourself of that? Is it just a long process of constantly being reminded? Because I'm not sure if there's anything in my life that reminds me of like, hey, remember, you're...
It's. I mean, first of all, it's a practice in self-awareness, right? And second of all, it's thoughtful reading of Scripture that isn't just what does this mean for me today, right now, in my circumstance? And I'm not belittling or demeaning anyone's circumstance,
right? But
there is a reality that, like, we're not living in occupied territory right now,
right?
So, how do we, So maybe take that into consideration when we're reading the words on these pages.
That's really good. You talked about Jesus kneeling in the dust instead of joining the debate. I think we all need that kind of pause.
Yeah.
What would that look like if, in our relationship or online, especially about how we talk about people we disagree with?
I think the most important thing is, regardless of what you see, because Jesus could have, and maybe should have, I mean, who am I to say what Jesus should have done? But like my natural reaction would be to defend, right? Like, no, how dare you? Like, I love let you without sin be the one to throw the first stone. Like, that's phenomenal. But I probably would have jumped on that right away. Like, who do you think you are? And I would have gotten combative. And he just kind of, like, everything calms with Jesus. He just pauses, and he doesn't have that reflexive response and doodles God knows what in the dust. Like, can't wait to figure that out at some point. Like, what did you write? Because he does it 2 times. And it's doesn't answer their question, doesn't immediately jump into her situation. Just like, let's let the dust settle a little bit, and then we'll approach this from a place of compassion, grace, and mercy.
I like that. I want that. I think Cornerstone has been a place for the last 30 years where people can come if they were hurt by church or by religion itself. So if we took this teaching, this message you just preached, as a community, seriously, help us imagine what our church could look, how it would be different. Maybe even become a refuge for those who felt maybe even scapegoated by religion itself.
Yeah, I think, so you said it really well, that it's not how do we become, it's how do we continue to become. Because I think this has been true of Cornerstone since its inception. But I also think there's so much opportunity. Like, man, the last week I've had 6 conversations with people that are just struggling with loneliness and lack of belonging or connection. And it's like, man, if we could just be a place where anyone and everyone feels like I belong there, or I will be welcome there, and there will be no judgment, no condemnation, like, we're just inviting people in. I think people from all walks of life will find a people who don't prioritize themselves and their needs first, but the needs of others. And I see us moving in that direction. Yep. I'm so proud of who we are as a church, but I like want more of it.
Yep.
I think.
No, I see it too, Steve, and that's pretty exciting. Well, I love this. I'm going to address the church here. I love this simple challenge from Pastor Steve today. Like, drop a stone, just one stone. Maybe it's the judgment you've been holding towards someone. Maybe it's resentment, or that need to be right. Maybe that's mine. Whatever it is, I just want just set it down, because every time you drop a stone, you make room. You make room for grace to grow. Let's together imagine a church, a group of people, know not for what or who we condemn, but for the grace that we extend over and over. A community where people who have been blamed, who have been shamed, who've been pushed aside can just, exhale and feel safe again. That's the kind of world that Jesus started creating that day, I think, in the dust. And it's the one that he's still inviting us to build together. So let me leave you with that one question you can take to use. Let this message go to the next level with your friends or in your own meditation. Kind of a 2-parter. First, who have I been tempted to blame lately? And then what would it look like to lay that stone down instead? I'm so glad you were here. I can't wait to see you for part 2.